everybody. Welcome to Relished. I'm Alli. I am a nutritionist and a yoga teacher, and I'm here to talk to you every week about something nutrition related. So today's topic is soy. I know there is a lot of controversy over, excuse me. I had to mute my YouTube show. Okay, or the YouTube channel. Okay, got it. Excuse me, everybody. So today we're going to talk about soy. There's a lot of controversy about it. Some people say it's good for you. Some people say there are drawbacks. And so first of all, we're going to talk about everything that soy is in, or all the different forms that soy can take, which there are so many. I don't even know how many we're going to talk about. Maybe a dozen, but I'm sure there are other forms of it that we won't even discuss today. Then we'll talk about some benefits, then we'll talk about some drawbacks, and then we're going to make a recipe. And so basically today I am going to be talking about soy. I'm not going to be saying you should or you shouldn't have it. I think that, I'll give you some information. You can do some more research if you want, and everybody has their own opinion. So today is just an informational show. Please type some questions and comments down below in the chat. I love interacting with people that have questions and comments about the topic that we're talking about, so that would be great. Everybody, welcome. Welcome to the show. So, soy, there are so many different forms of soy. I'm going to start with talking about the most pure forms of it, then go into a little bit more of the processed versions and products made with soy. So let's just start. Edamame. I don't have a whole lot of visual aids because we don't eat a whole lot of soy here, but I do have a few visual aids that we will use today. So edamame, you've probably all seen it in restaurants or bought it from the grocery store. It is the young green version of the soybean. So you can buy it in the pod, or you can buy it by itself. And great source of protein, great source of fiber, and delicious if you steam it, dip it in a little soy sauce, put a little bit of salt on the outside, or dip it in whatever sauce you like. There's so many options. Also great if you just use the individual edamame. You can put that in salads, you can eat it by itself, you can put it in stir fries. So it's just a great option. And you usually buy it in the freezer section at the grocery store, in the pods or out of the pods. And pretty much every version of soy we're going to talk about today is going to be cholesterol-free because it's a plant-based product, and cholesterol only comes from animal products. So that's one benefit, I'll just say it early, of eating soy, is that it's a plant-based version of protein. So pretty much everything we're going to talk about, well, I guess not all forms have a lot of protein in soy, but most of them do. So edamame, protein, fiber. Okay, so next version is whole soybeans, which this just means the soybeans grew on the plant longer and they've dried on the plant. So, when you buy things like black beans or garbanzo beans or lentils when they're dried, you can buy the same version of soybeans when they're dried. And these typically are either yellow or brown or white, and or yellow, brown, or black, depending on the variety and how long it's been dried. But you would cook them the same as you would a dried bean. So you soak them, drain them, cook them either in the slow cooker or the pressure cooker or on the stovetop, and you can use them in soups and salads and eat them by themselves. So all different ways to eat just like the typical whole soybean that's been dried. So we've got edamame, we've got whole dried, and next is soy nuts, and that is also the whole soybean, but typically it's been taken and it's been soaked and then it's been baked and put salt on it, or a lot of companies put different seasonings, so, you know, all kinds of options for the soy nuts. They're usually called roasted soy nuts, and those are delicious. It's like a fun snack. We used to eat those a lot growing up, and a nice crunchy snack. It's kind of like eating peanuts, like roasted peanuts or something. So whole roasted soy nuts, great. Also a source of protein, fiber. So I keep wanting to say soy instead of so. Anyway, we've got our roasted soy nuts. Next version of soy, in pretty close to its original form, is tempeh, which I used to eat a lot of tempeh. It is so delicious. It's you can buy it by itself, or sometimes it's mixed with a grain like rice or millet or wild rice. I've had wild rice tempeh before. And basically, the beans have been fermented, and then they are formed into like a little cake, or kind of a big cake, I guess. And sometimes it's flavored, sometimes it's not. And then you can slice parts of it off, and then put that, you know, saute it for a stir fry, or make a sandwich with it, or put it in soups. So many options. Or casseroles or chili as well. The great thing about tempeh is that it's been fermented, so you get those good probiotics that we've talked about before. Good for our gut, good for our digestion, helping decrease inflammation in our digestive tract. So that's always a good thing. And then sometimes some of the bacteria that is a product of this fermentation, sometimes it produces B12, vitamin B12, which is great, especially for vegetarians or vegans or people who eat mostly a plant-based diet that aren't going to get the B12 from animal products. Make sure the brand that you buy says it has B12 in it, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily have it just because it's tempeh. Depends on the bacteria. So look it up. Make sure it has it if that's something you're looking for. But also a good source of fiber, and it's just delicious. Usually it's plain, but sometimes you can buy it flavored, or you can marinate it. So many options. So many options for the tempeh. So it's a good one to try. Next is miso, which I do have a visual aid because we're going to be making something with miso today. It has a very fermented smell. It smells really good. So it kind of looks like hummus / cookie dough, but it's not something you go and take a spoonful of, because it won't taste like hummus or cookie dough. But it is also a version of soy that's been fermented. So it's a rich, salty paste, and also it has been fermented, so it has the probiotics, and you can use it a lot of in the Asian cultures. You can get miso soup, which the paste is mixed with a broth or hot water, and sometimes tofu or sometimes vegetables, sometimes just miso in the water. And it's so good. It's so warm and comforting and good for your body. And miso comes in, this is mellow white miso, but you could also get yellow miso, and you can get red miso. So basically, the lighter the color, the milder the flavor. So you need less and less the more colored it has. So the red miso is going to have the strongest flavor, so you would use a little bit less. And it's important to keep these in the refrigerator because it's been fermented, and we want to keep those good bacteria alive in there. So I'm really excited because we're going to be making a miso dressing today. It's called Carrot Miso Ginger Dressing. It's from relish.com. And I'm going to put this right behind us because we're going to be using that again. It sounds really good. I'm really excited to make this dressing. I always love a new dressing to make. So that's miso. Typically white, yellow, or red. I think you're going to find white most commonly because it is the milder of the flavored kind. I actually had a little bit of a hard time finding it today I went to our local co-op, and there was just one kind. So I feel like there used to be a lot of different kinds, but there you go. So I'm excited to try this one. But yes, it's great for salad dressings, great for soups, great for sauces. It's good. And it has that fermented smell, kind of like bread or beer or anything like that. So it smells really good and tastes good too. All right, moving on to the next soy product. Now we're kind of moving into the soy products. Soy milk. We've all heard of soy milk, and there are just a million different kinds. So basically, soybeans are soaked, and then they're ground and strained to produce the soy milk. And even though it's called soy milk, a lot of companies are now starting to call it soy beverage because it's not actually a dairy milk. But we all still call it soy milk sometimes too. So many different versions. You can get plain, you can get sweetened, you can get vanilla, you can get chocolate. I think I've seen strawberry before. Sometimes it's sweetened, sometimes it's not. So it's really important to read the label. So especially if you're using it to cook with something that's savory, you don't want to get the sweetened kind because it is pretty sweet. I typically would, always recommend to not get the sweetened kind just because it has added sugar then. And typical, like plain, unsweetened soy milk is not going to have the calcium and the vitamin D like you get from cow's milk, but you can get it fortified. So they have a lot of different kinds of soy milk that's fortified with all those vitamins that you would get from dairy milk. So just be sure you read the labels, see what you're looking for. If you're looking for the calcium, vitamin D, then get it fortified. If that's not something that's important to you, you don't have to. But there are options. There are options. So soy milk is a great alternative, especially if you are lactose intolerant. There are, of course, all kinds of other non-dairy beverages out there like almond milk and hemp milk and oat milk and cashew milk and macadamia nut milk and all different kinds. I feel like soy was kind of the first of the group of the alternative milks to get on the shelves, but now we have all kinds of options. But soy milk is just another version of soy that we're talking about today. Next is another one that most people think of is tofu. Tofu, also known as soybean curd, is a soy product made from curdling hot soy milk with a coagulant. So it's very mild in flavor, and there are all different kinds of textures and versions of tofu that you can find. So typically there's the water-packed tofu, and then there's the silken tofu. The water-packed tofu comes in those containers where you can like see the top of it, and you can see the tofu, and there's water in there, and then there's soft, there's firm, there's extra firm, and the water-packed usually people use that for things like stir fries or like baked tofu, or you can crumble the soft one and make like a scramble so it looks like eggs, but it's tofu. It's a little bit sturdier, I guess is what I'm saying. And then the silken tofu usually comes in one of those like sealed containers. I can't remember the term right now, but it's closed on both sides. A lot of times it's not refrigerated, like air packed or whatever, kind of like the inside of a soy milk container. And silken tofu is typically either marinated or used for sweet recipes like a pudding because it's so smooth and silky. Or also, when I was in grad school, I went to Bastyr University, and it's like a school, a lot of people go there to become naturopathic doctors. I went there for nutrition, and they have the most amazing cafeteria and salad bar. I don't know, it's probably different now because of the circumstances, but they had a salad bar with marinated tofu, and I didn't think I was going to like it like in that form. It was delicious. And I'm pretty sure that was silken tofu. So you can also marinate the water-packed tofu as well. But either way, those are the two different kinds. Tofu is, a lot of times people have tofu for a protein substitute, especially if you're not eating meat. It can be, it can be deep fried, it can be sauteed. It can be put in soups. A lot of times people put it in miso soup. So it's just very versatile food. Very, very versatile. All right, next, soy sauce. This is the typical regular soy sauce. And it's also made from fermenting. The liquid from soybeans has gone through a fermentation process. And it doesn't have a whole lot of soy protein in it. It's just more of like a byproduct of soy, but it also has a lot of salt and flavor to it. So there's a couple of different kinds. The regular kind, I guess, is considered like the shoyu, I think is how you say it, shoyu. And that's made with soybeans and wheat and water. And then a lot of times people that are avoiding wheat or gluten go for tamari, which is not made with wheat, and so that is the good alternative. And then there's also teriyaki, which is soy sauce with some sweetener, usually sugar, and spices and other flavorings, and some vinegar. So soy sauce, delicious. We eat a lot of fried rice in our house, so soy sauce goes on that. But there are the soy sauce versions. So shoyu, teriyaki, tamari. All right. Next is the textured soy protein. A lot of times you'll hear it as called TVP, textured vegetable protein. That's brand, I guess. I learned that in this research that that's the brand, but the of what it is, it's textured soy protein. So there we go. And it is made of textured soy flour, textured soy protein concentrate, and then some spun soy fiber. So you typically buy it in like these little chunks. It almost looks like granola, but it's not. And people use this also as a meat alternative. And once you have rehydrated it, it has like a chewy texture and kind of the same texture as like ground beef. So people use it in chilies. I think it was oftentimes people use it it was called a meat extender. So you would add that to like hamburger or something so you could extend the meat longer. But then it got popular with vegetarians, so it's often used in chilies and soups and salads and things like that. So you typically buy it in the bulk section at the grocery store or at health food stores. I'm pretty sure you can buy it in a package now too. But textured soy protein, and it's high in protein because it has a lot of just the protein in it of the soy. Next, this is kind of like just a general category called meat alternatives, and that is when the soy has been processed pretty thoroughly into products that look like meat, like hot dogs, or like they make, soy chicken, or where it's just soy, but it tastes like chicken, or has a texture of chicken. And usually for people that are avoiding meat or avoiding things with cholesterol, and so it's usually called imitation meat. So yeah, like the chicken, soy bacon, soy hot dogs. There are just so many out there. I bought, just so we could try it one time, I bought a soy chorizo with all the spices of chorizo, but it was made from soy, and it was delicious. It smelled just like meat chorizo. So there are a lot of those out there. Next is something you'll probably see in a label called soy lecithin. And it is a food additive usually used as an emulsifier for products to kind of hold them together. And a lot of products have soy lecithin. And just because some people have been avoiding soy in the last several years, they make it from other products too besides soy. So if you're avoiding soy, just read your labels. Although there has been a little bit of research out there that if you are allergic or sensitive to soy lecithin might not affect you as much because it's not the protein. And the protein is usually what people are having issues with. Some people take soy lecithin to lower their cholesterol, but usually you'll see it in foods as an additive, as an emulsifier. So that's that. Just a few more. I know, I feel like this list is getting really long. Okay, I'll just go quick for the last few. Soy protein powder, which is made from isolated soy protein and soy lecithin as well. And, people use this to make smoothies and shakes to bulk up their protein. And, sometimes it's just the soy protein, but sometimes in those powders, there's a lot of other things added, like sugars and flavorings and things like that. So if you're looking for that, just make sure you read your labels. Then also there's soy flour, which a lot of companies make it, where it's just flour made from soy, and people use it for breads and pancakes and soy milk and making homemade tofu. So that's an option. Last but not least, soybean oil, and it's one of the most widely consumed cooking oils out there. And if you're going to buy vegetable oil, a lot of times it's made from soybean oil. Sometimes it's made from canola oil or a mix, but a lot of times vegetable oil is made from soybean oil, which is extracted from the seeds of soybeans. So there we go. There's a lot of soy out there. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly breeze through the benefits and the drawbacks, possible benefits. Then we're going to make our recipe because I'm really excited. And the recipe has vinegar in it, and I have everything in a bowl, and you can really smell vinegar in our house. So I'm excited to use it. Okay, so some benefits out there for soy. The biggest one is that it's a protein source. And it's nice because it is a complete protein, which is kind of hard to find sometimes with plant-based proteins. So it has all the essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. And so soy has all of them all in one package. And it's also a plant-based protein, which if you're looking for meat alternatives, it's another source of protein. Let's see. Some people say that soy protein powders are better than whey. Some people don't. It's kind of up in the air. I think it kind of depends on the person. But that's kind of up for debate, I guess. Some people say there are positive effects of eating soy on our heart, and some people say that it could help lower our LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. There was a study out there that if people replace animal protein with 25 grams of soy protein, their LDL cholesterol and their total cholesterol decreased, as well as triglycerides. So I'm sure that was true. And also, you can always replace animal protein, 25 grams of animal protein, with other proteins as well if you're not somebody that eats soy. But the whole point of the study was soy. So that's just something to keep in mind. So those are some benefits. And then there's also a lot of research. So that's the positive side. There's also a lot of research out there that says that soy isn't so great for us. And some people avoid it for many reasons. So lots of people that follow like a paleo diet or keto or any sort of like grain-free diet typically don't eat legumes either, and soy is considered a legume. So some people just avoid it because of that, which have been found to possibly reduce the availability of the iron and zinc in that food. Some people say if you sprout it or ferment it or soak the legumes, that issue is kind of reduced. So that's another one up for debate. A lot of these are up for debate, but I'm just telling you why some people don't eat them. Some other people avoid them because they have phytoestrogens in the soybeans. Have phytoestrogens, which excuse me. Some people say, and there's some research out there, that it could affect our hormones in our body. Especially, some women say it could affect their hormones with fertility and things like that. So I think more research is definitely needed to find out if that's for sure true. But that's what some people say, that it kind of mimics the estrogen in our bodies because they're sort of similar. And then also some people avoid it because they say it could affect our thyroid and how it functions. Also, research is going on about that. And then other people avoid soy also because a lot of soy out there is genetically modified and is probably not great for our bodies. So if you do want to eat soy, I say get the organic version just to be safe, so it's not genetically modified. So those are kind of the excuse me, the pros, the cons, the reasons why people eat it, the reason why people don't eat it. So many versions of it out there. You know, I would say if you want to try different versions and it doesn't affect you, if it doesn't affect your digestion or anything like that, why not? But you can do your research too, talk to your doctor, ask if it should or shouldn't be in your life, in your diet. These are just the examples. So we're going to make a miso dressing today because I like the idea that miso has all of this, that it's been fermented, has all those good probiotics. So it is called carrot miso ginger dressing. I'm very excited. So this is from relish.com. And I'm going to cut the recipe in half because recipe makes 2.5 cups of dressing. And I thought 1 cup, and 1/4 cup sounds pretty good to me. So we're going to start off with 2.5 carrots. Actually, it was 2 pretty large carrots. And I just cut them into chunks right here. We're going to put them in the blender. Okay, carrots. We've got carrots, and then we've got 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger, which I just did like a really large, large piece of ginger, and 1 clove of garlic. The recipe actually calls for 1 clove of garlic, so I should technically do a half a clove, but I'm going to do a whole clove because I love garlic. Okay, and what's next? And a 1/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. Okay, here is I'm using olive oil. I prefer olive oil, so we're doing that. Okay, here we go. So we start off with this, I think, just to kind of get the carrots going. Ready, set, go. Alright, and while this is on, I'm going to pour in, actually, I'm just going to turn it off so I can talk. So that you can hear me. And a 1/4 of a cup of rice vinegar. You can kind of see it. There we go. I don't want to pour it on the computer. Okay. A 1/4 of a cup of rice vinegar. 1.5 tablespoons of the miso. I'll show you the miso again. Really good. Alright. So, it totally has the texture of cookie dough. Whoops. Okay. And then 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil in this jar, or in this little bowl. There we go. We're going to blend again. Looking good. I love new recipes for dressings. Okay, I'm going to give this a taste. See how it is. Really good. Really, really flavorful. That's good. And I think it's probably one of those things that even gets better the longer it sits. So, highly recommend that. I think that would be really good on a salad, especially like a grain salad or a green salad, green or grain salad. yum, or just to like dip vegetables in. So, thank you all for tuning in. It was great talking soy with you. I'll see you again next time. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye.